I never thought I'd live to see a storm like this. The air feels wrong, thick with the scent of salt and something else, something metallic and ancient like blood drying on stone. They called it Hurricane Melissa on the radio before the power flickered out for good. Category 5, they said. The strongest Jamaica had ever recorded. But they were wrong. They didn't know what I know now. As the wind began tearing at the roof tiles, I boarded up my windows like everyone else in Kingston. My hands shook as I hammered the plywood into place, each strike echoing in the unnatural silence that had settled over the city. Cars sat abandoned in the streets, their owners having fled to shelters. But I stayed. This is my home, the house where I was born, where my grandmother raised me when my parents died in the last big storm. I thought I knew what hurricanes were. I was wrong. The rain came first, not in drops but in sheets like the sky had split open. Then the wind. It didn't howl, it screamed. A sound that didn't belong to this world, a chorus of voices trapped in the gale. Through the boarded window, I watched the palm trees bend until they snapped like twigs, their fronds whipping through the air like desperate hands trying to escape. The power went out around midnight. I lit candles, their flickering light casting long shadows that seemed to move on their own. That's when I heard it, a rhythmic thumping against my front door. Not the wind. Something deliberate. Something waiting. I peered through a crack in the boarded window. The street was gone, replaced by a churning river of black water. And in it, shapes moved. Not debris. Things that swam against the current with purpose, their eyes reflecting the candlelight from my windows like cats in the dark. The thumping grew louder. More insistent. The door shook in its frame. I backed away, my heart hammering against my ribs. That's when the water began seeping under the door, not just water, but something thicker, darker, carrying with it the smell of the ocean floor and things that should never see sunlight. I ran upstairs as the lower level filled. From the second-floor window, I saw them clearly for the first time, figures standing in the floodwaters, their bodies distorted, their faces elongated with too many teeth. They weren't drowning. They were walking on the surface of the water, their eyes fixed on my house. The storm surge hit like a freight train. The wall facing the sea exploded inward, and the black water rushed in, carrying with it things I can't describe, shapes that defied geometry, that made my eyes water and my head ache with the effort of comprehending them. I climbed onto the roof as the house groaned and shifted on its foundation. The wind tore at my clothes, my skin. Above me, the clouds weren't clouds at all, but a vast, swirling maw, a pupil in the eye of something ancient and hungry. The rain wasn't water, it was warm. It tasted of copper when it hit my lips. From the roof, I saw the truth of Melissa. It wasn't a hurricane. It was a key turning in a lock that had held back something that should have remained buried. The streets of Kingston were gone, replaced by a landscape that looked more like the ocean floor than a city. And the things that walked there, they were coming home. The roof beam cracked beneath me. As I fell into the black water, I understood why they called it Melissa. Not a name, but a word. A word from a language older than humanity. A word meaning return. The water closed over my head, but I couldn't drown. The things down here wouldn't allow it. They wanted me to see. They wanted me to remember. They wanted me to tell what happens when the ocean remembers it on the land first. Above, the eye of Melissa stared down at us all, and I realized with terrible clarity, the storm wasn't the horror. The horror was what the storm had awakened. I float now in the dark water, unable to die, unable to escape. The things with too many eyes and too many teeth swim around me, watching, waiting. They've shown me what lies beneath the sand, what waits in the trenches deeper than any human has ever dived. They've shown me the cities that were here before ours, built by hands that weren't hands, with architecture that bends the mind to look upon. My lungs burn with the need to breathe, yet I don't breathe. My heart pounds against my ribs like a trapped animal, yet I don't die. Time stretches and compresses in ways it shouldn't. Minutes feel like hours. Hours feel like seconds. The water is inside me now, filling spaces that should never hold water. I see other figures in the distance, people I knew from Kingston. Mrs. Chen from the grocery store. The schoolteacher who taught me to read. My neighbor with the 3 children. They float like I do, their eyes wide with the same terrible knowledge, their mouths opening and closing in silent screams. The water is rising higher. The buildings that remain stand like tombstones in a graveyard. I can see the cathedral spire, the parliament building, the hotels that once lined the shore, all half submerged now, becoming part of this new landscape. They're coming closer now, the things with too many teeth. They circle me like sharks scenting blood. One reaches out with something that might be a hand but isn't quite. The touch sends electricity through my body, not painful but profoundly wrong, like having my bones rearranged while I'm still inside them. I feel myself changing. My skin tingles. My vision shifts. I can see in the dark now, see details I shouldn't be able to see. My thoughts grow slower, more fluid, like the water around me. The panic that consumed me is fading, replaced by something else, acceptance perhaps, or the first stages of madness. The thing touches me again, and this time I understand. Not with words, but with something deeper. A knowledge that floods my mind like the seawater flooding the city. They were here first. They built the foundations our buildings stand on. They sleep beneath the coral and sand, waiting for the right storm to wake them. Melissa wasn't random. She was called, summoned by something ancient stirring in the deep. And now that she's come, she won't leave. The ocean is reclaiming what was always hers. I float in the dark water, unable to die, unable to escape, watching as the last lights of human civilization flicker and die. The radio tower topples slowly, gracefully, like a dying tree. The power station shorts out in a shower of sparks that hiss as they hit the water. Above, the eye of Melissa stares down at us all, and I realize with terrible clarity, the storm wasn't the horror. The horror was what the storm had awakened. And it's only just beginning.